Russian troops are concentrating their main efforts in the Kupiansk, Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, and Marinka directions, while sabotage and reconnaissance groups were active on the Sivershchyna and Slobozhanshchyna axes. That's according to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Ukrinform reports referring to the evening update on war developments. 24 firefights took place in the Kupiansk, Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, and Marinka directions. According to the General Staff, the towns of Bakhmut and Marinka in Donetsk region remain at the epicenter of hostilities. In total, the Russian army carried out 4 missile strikes and 45 air strikes, as well as more than 30 attacks involving MLR systems, destroying and damaging residential buildings and other civilian infrastructure. In missile attacks on Lyman, Sloviansk, and Konstantinivka, the enemy once again fired S-300 air defense systems, which are not considered high-precision weapons, which emphasizes the terror tactics pursued by the Russian Federation. In total, during the day, the Ukrainian aviation carried out 12 strikes on the Russian manpower and equipment clusters, as well as 4 on the enemy's air defense systems. Ukraine's rocket and artillery forces, for their part, struck an enemy cluster, 2 ammunition depots, 2 artillery installations at firing positions, and another important target. Ukrainian defenders destroyed 3 Russian reconnaissance drones on Sunday. The General Staff warns that further missile and air strikes are highly likely across the entire territory of Ukraine. According to the armed forces, the operational situation in the Volyn and Polishcha directions has undergone no significant changes. Russia continues to maintain military presence in the Sivershchyna and Slobozhanshchyna directions in the areas bordering Ukraine. Enemy sabotage and reconnaissance groups operate in some areas of the state border. The Russians fired mortars and artillery at Progress in Chernihiv region, Studenok and Mykhailivka in Sumy region, as well as Uda, Haranov, Zalin, Staritsha, Ohertsev, Hatish, Platonivka, Vovchansk, Nestern, and Budarka in Kharkiv region. In the Kupiansk direction, the invaders do not stop trying to improve their tactical position. Over this day, they conducted unsuccessful offensive operations in the Mashutivka area. Kamyanka, Kolodiansk, Krasny Persh, Petro-Ivanivka, Fyholivka, Novomlinsk, Zapadna, Monokhinivka, Mashitivka, Tabevka, and Berestovka in Kharkiv region and Stelmakivka in Luhansk region were hit by Russian artillery and mortars. On the Lyman axis, the enemy undertook offensive efforts toward Ivano-Darievka, with no gains. The enemy attacked the Nevsky district using aviation. Russian artillery hit settlements located along the battle line, including Makivka, Nevsky, and Bilohorivka in Luhansk region, as well as Torsky, Verkhnyokamyansk, and Spern in Donetsk region. Russian troops continue to conduct offensive operations in the Bakhmut direction. Battles for the town of Bakhmut are underway. During the day, the invaders unsuccessfully tried to restore their positions lost earlier south of Ivanovsky and tried to launch an offensive toward Horohorivka, with no success. Russian aviation struck the districts of Bakhmut and Ivanovsky. Orikovo-Vasilivka, Markov, Bakhmut, Ivanovsky, Bila Hora, and New York of Donetsk region were affected by enemy shelling. In the Avdiivka direction, the Russians ran unsuccessful offensive actions in the Avdiivka and Pervomaisk directions. The enemy struck the Avdiivka district using aviation, and the Novokolinov, Berdichev, Stepov, Avdiivka, Severn, Pervomaisk, Karlivka, and Nevelski districts of Donetsk region came under artillery fire. In the Marinka direction, units of Ukraine's defense forces repelled numerous attacks by invasion troops in the Marinka area. Russian forces conducted airstrikes near Marinka and Novomykhailivka. Georgievka, Pobeda and Novomykhailivka of Donetsk region also came under enemy shelling. The Russian army launched no offensive operations toward Shakhtarsk. They chose air strikes targeting the areas of Vodian, Vuhledar, Prekostivka, Zolotaniva and Vlika Novosilka. Vodian and Vuhledar also suffered from enemy shelling. In the Zaporizhia and Kherson directions, the Russian army remains on the defensive, without ceasing attempts to destroy the infrastructure of the settlements located close to the line of contact. The enemy airstrikes hit Stanislav in Kherson region, while artillery shelled Vremivka, Berlatz, Novosilka, Zalin Pol in Donetsk region, Olhaivsky, Hulyai Pol, Zaliznikny, Bilahirya, Mala Tokhmachka, Mali Sherbaki, and Kupiansk in Zaporizhia region, as well as Kherson and Tyazhinka in Kherson region. In the temporarily occupied territories of Kherson region, Russian invaders limit the access of the civilian population to mobile communication services. According to the General Staff, the Russians dismantle substation equipment, as well as that of relay towers, limiting the movement of local residents to areas with stable signal. As Ukrinform reported earlier, in the course of the full-scale war Russia is waging against Ukraine, the Ukrainian Defense Forces have already eliminated 203,160 Russian invaders, destroying thousands of units of Russian military hardware. Last day, May 21, the Ukrainian military eliminated another 730 occupiers. Since the start of the full-scale invasion, Russia has lost more than 203,000 of its soldiers. It was reported by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Ukraine said on Sunday that its forces were still advancing around the edges of Bakhmut, aiming to encircle the ruined eastern city after Moscow congratulated the Wagner private army and Russian troops for capturing it. Russia said on Saturday it had completely taken Bakhmut, which, if confirmed, would mark an end to the longest and bloodiest battle of the 15-month war. Russian President Vladimir Putin praised his regular troops in the Wagner group. On Sunday, however, a top Ukrainian general said Kyiv's forces still controlled what he accepted was an insignificant part of Bakhmut, although that would allow them to enter the city when the situation changed. General Alexander Syrsky said in a Telegram post that Kyiv's troops were advancing on Russian forces in the suburbs and getting closer to a tactical encirclement of the city, formerly home to 70,000 people. Syrsky, the commander of Ukraine's ground forces, said on Sunday he had visited frontline positions near Bakhmut, where fighting has raged for more than 9 months. Syrsky's assertion that Ukrainian forces were continuing their advance along the flanks of the city was echoed by Ukraine's Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar. Our forces have taken the city in a semi-encirclement, which gives us the opportunity to destroy the enemy. The enemy has to defend himself in the part of the city he controls, Maliar said on Telegram. Ukrainian troops were still defending industrial and infrastructure facilities and had claimed part of the overlooking heights, Maliar said. In the past 24 hours, the Russian offensive around Bakhmut has not let up, including airstrikes on the city and the village of Ivanovsky on its western approaches, said a statement by the General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. Later on Sunday, Wagner leader Yevgeny Prigozhin said in an audio message on Telegram that his group's job was done and his forces would leave the conflict zone within days. Wagner today captured no territory. We have captured all the territory we promised to capture, right up to the last centimeter, Prigozhin said. As we stated yesterday, we are handing over our positions to Russia's defense ministry and on the 25th of May we are leaving the conflict zone. Bakhmut has no strategic value according to military analysts, although Moscow has said that capturing it would be a stepping stone towards advancing deeper into the industrial region of Donbass it claims to have annexed from Ukraine. Reuters could not verify the battlefield reports by either side.